I know this is the third Ninja Turtles related video in a row. It just happened. I was not planning this. So next video won't be Ninja Turtles related. Probably. I don't know what's gonna happen. Point is, it probably won't be. Probably. So August 6, 2024, which was probably yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't know when this video came out or is coming out. Point is, that day is the 10-year anniversary of the beloved 2014 film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, produced by Michael Bay, not directed. It was actually directed by, let me check the name here, I have it right in my notes. Jonathan Liebesman? I don't know how to say that name. It's just some guy named Jonathan. I don't know what else he's directed. But yes, it's produced by him. It stars Megan Fox as April O'Neil, Johnny Knoxville as Leonardo, and also has Will Arnett in it, trying to be funny, but is not really that funny. He's funny in other stuff, just not in this. And also, some of the worst designs for the turtles, like that, I think that's pretty agreed on. Yeah, they look pretty terrible in this. And when this movie came out, it was financially very successful, but was critically and reception of the fans, like that stuff, no, not loved at all. Except I did. The 12-year-old me or 11-year-old me loved this movie so much. And now, I guess I still kind of like it a little bit. Mostly like in an ironic way, but like, I don't know. I'm gonna explain it though in this video. I'm gonna be talking about the 2014 Ninja Turtles movie. Why did I like it, and why do I still kinda do, but still admit it's a bad movie? I'm gonna get into it. Yeah, that's right. You thought the format that I had the previous video in was just a one and done. No, I'm thinking about doing it in more videos now. So yeah, there's gonna be like, parts. Might even timestamp them in the description. I don't know. I'll think about it. But yeah, just hopefully this works. Let me know what you think of it after you finish the video and see if you like this. So some interesting things happened during the development of the movie. Things like controversies behind the casting of the Shredder. There was like something different, which I'll get into that later, of who ended up being in the movie. The casting of Megan Fox as April O'Neil. The announcement of Michael Bay being involved at all, and the leaked scripts and the idea that the Turtles would be aliens instead of mutants on Earth. That caused like some controversy amongst fans, but I wasn't really aware of that when during that time, because I just wasn't following movie news like that at the time, and so that just completely never reached me as a kid. I had no idea all that was going on. So I don't really think I want to go into depth about like what was going on beforehand during the development and production of the movie, because I just want to talk more about my personal experience with the movie and like why I liked it so much when I was younger. And there are other videos out there that probably will go over all this that you should definitely check out. But for now, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just say, this is my experience when it came to like the release of the movie and afterwards and all that stuff and what I think of it now. So yeah, my history with the movie essentially. So I first saw the trailer of this movie, I think on Nickelodeon. I don't know if it was like at a movie theater during like in front of like another movie or something like that, but I definitely remember when I first saw this, I was blown away. I was just like, oh my god, a live action Ninja Turtles movie, and it looks cool. Like, oh my god, I'm so excited, because I mentioned this in my video on the 2007 TMNT film. But my first exposure to the Turtles was that film and the one of the seasons of the 2003 show, Fast Forward. That's what the season is called. Don't know why I couldn't speak there. And that was my introduction to the Turtles. But the thing that made me really love them was the 2012 show on Nickelodeon. I love that show so much, and I still do, honestly. It's probably I do think it is my favorite version of the Turtles, and I was obsessed with the characters, and I rewatched the show so often, and it got me to want to know more about the Turtles franchise. So I would watch like the 1990 live action films, a little bit of the 80s show, like learn about the other stuff as well. And then when this was announced, when I saw the trailer for this, I was just like, I have to see this. This looks incredible. Because like, yeah, I did enjoy the 90s films, and I even love them now, or, well, yeah, I'll say I love them. Even 3 is like stupidly fun. This movie was like, it was something new. It was like for my generation. I was just like, I have to be there to see this movie. So I watched the commercials and the trailers, and I do remember Nickelodeon at one point aired like this like behind the scenes special that had Megan Fox and Will Arnett kind of talk about like, hey, did you know that this and that went into the production of the movie, you know, like how they did the motion capture, all that stuff. And I thought that was super fascinating because I was obsessed with like learning like how movies were made. I would always like look at the bonus features on the DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. So that was cool to me, and that just got me more excited for the film. And then I watched it. It was like a few weeks, the movie came out a few weeks before my birthday. My birthday is on August 29th. So it was a few weeks before my birthday and a few weeks before I went back to school. So this was the thing I was obsessed with for that time. So for my birthday, you know, since I was obsessed with this film, I thought it was incredible. It was probably my favorite movie at the time. You know, I got the toys for my birthday. I got a backpack with the turtles, like the movie Turtles on it to take to school, and I had that for the whole school year. Wow, I regret that now. And you know, all that stuff. This was just my thing. I dressed up as this movie's version of Leonardo for Halloween. I just love it so much. I probably even played with the toys of this movie more so than the toys of the 2012 show for a while, honestly. Because I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I just thought it was the bomb. And yeah, this movie, I really loved it as a kid. I saw no flaws in it. That's different now. Now I do see many flaws, which I will talk about. Story follows a young reporter, April O'Neil, who is tired of doing lame stories and wants to do a big story. And she has her cameraman, Vernon, or Vern, it's just Vern. He's played by Will Arnett. I think he's supposed to be inspired by Vernon from the 80s show. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, he's in this movie, and she thinks she finally has her big story when she sees like some weird stuff is going on with the Foot Clan, and she sees there's these vigilantes who are stopping them, and she was trying to figure out who is it, and then she finds out it's the Turtles, and she actually knew the Turtles from when she was younger because her dad experimented on them alongside a billionaire or like a rich person in New York, Eric Sachs, who, you know, she talks to every now and then she finds out that like Eric Sachs is apparently the one doing all this stuff with the Foot Clan alongside the Shredder, and they want to get the Turtles to use their mutagen so that he can make like a you know, like a bunch like this like disease across New York where, you know, everyone turns into immune or something, and he'll sell the cure for, you know, he'll be for money so he could be rich, like stupid rich. And you know, it's up to the Turtles and April to stop them, and also Shredder as well. And you know, I think there's some stuff in here that I do kind of like the idea of like April knowing the Turtles before they become mutated, and also Splinter as well. I actually kind of like that one because it kind of adds, it could add a sort of emotional angle to her, you know, her relationship with the Turtles, where like, you know, they could be like her childhood pets that, you know, maybe she had them when like, you know, when she only really hung out with her dad and didn't really have that many friends, and so when she sees them like what they are now, you know, she'll still have that kind of emotional bond to them. You know, I think that's a good idea. And there's some stuff in here that I think could probably work with the Turtles themselves. Like there's one moment where Raphael, like, you know, he has that thing where he's like kind of the more angrier one and like kind of doesn't really like, isn't really nice to his like his brothers. But then there's a moment where they think they're about to die and he goes like, guys, I'm so sorry. He goes, I always thought you were better than me and I love you and stuff like that. You know, I think that could work. That's something interesting they could explore. And gonna be honest, that's about it. Like, you know, everything else is like either fine or not that interesting. Like the whole you know, April O'Neil being a reporter and like this being like a big story that she thinks will, you know, like be her big break. All right, that's fine. But then you have the inclusion of Eric Sachs, who is just like a generic like you know, billionaire villain who just wants to be rich. You know, he doesn't care about anyone else. And like, I guess his ties to April could make him more interesting. Like, oh hey, he was like with the man who experimented on the Turtles to like, you know, and so he's kind of part of their origin, but they kind of barely interact with him other than like when he like kidnaps them to take their mutagen, and like that's about it. But like there isn't really much else besides that. Like he like doesn't really care about them, and they don't really seem to care about him except for the fact that he kidnapped them. But like, you know, other than that, there isn't really much else there. And like his motivation is just, yeah, just kind of the generic like, yeah, I want to be rich, like stupid rich. And that's about it. And like then Shredder is in here and he's kind of like feels very shoehorned into the story, which was kind of the case, and I'll explain it here. Okay, so apparently like in the original idea was that Eric Sachs was supposed to be the Shredder and he was going to be the one in the suit and he was going to fight the Turtles. However, that got a lot of hate because Shredder is supposed to be Japanese and Eric Sachs, the actor they got him, is very much not the actor isn't named Eric Sachs. It's like, that's a character. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, the guy that got to play Eric Sachs is very much white and not Japanese at all. So people got mad. They were all like, what? No, that's Shredder's supposed to be Japanese. Why, what? Who's this white guy? And so they changed it, so like they got another actor, hold on, wait. I got the name written down here. Tohoru Masamune, I hope I said that right, to play Shredder. And he is like working alongside Eric. And so, you know, they're kind of partners in crime, I guess. And then he just kind of is there to like, you know, fight the turtles. And he doesn't really seem that involved, honestly, with like what Eric is doing with Sax. The Foot Clan is involved, but they're just kind of like generic soldiers with guns, not actual ninjas like they are in most other iterations. So they kind of didn't really need to be the Foot Clan. They could have just been a generic army that he has, you know, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, so he is not Shredder, so it's a different guy. And honestly, I am kind of conflicted on how I'm supposed to feel about this, because on the one hand, I'm totally okay with them like not going with the forward decision of this white guy being Shredder, because, you know, I don't want to see whitewashing with a character I really like. But on the other hand, the story was very much kind of messed up in this sense, because like now Eric is like has kind of no ties to the Turtles other than like he wants the mutagen, and then Shredder also feels like he has no ties because he's not connected to Splinter in any way. It didn't seem like they knew each other, because in this version Splinter's just like a rat who got mutated, not a person who turned into a rat. So he just kind of like doesn't have anything with that, and he doesn't really have a vendetta against the Turtles. He just is fighting them. And like I said, there is kind of no connection now with Shredder or Eric, besides like I guess they work with each other. And so yeah, I'm kind of thinking like story wise, they probably should have gone with Eric being Shredder, so that way everything feels like it would feel more connected, other than like everything feel like kind of disconnected, just like, oh yeah, Shredder's just here or whatever. But like at the same time, again, I don't like whitewashing. That's not something I like. So yeah, you know, take that for what it is, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, like I think story-wise, it is kind of like a sort of, yeah, it's fine, I guess. Like it's serviceable, but like there isn't really much nuance for the characters. I know that some people might be saying nuance for an Ninja Turtle story, but yeah, there can be nuance. And the thing about that is because I just don't think the Turtles are that important. Like this is very much an April story, and the April side is not even really all that interesting. It's just like, oh yeah, she's a story, she meets up with the Turtles, and then like, you know, fight Eric, fight Shredder, the end, I guess. And yeah, the Turtles don't really have like an arc in this. Like, yeah, I mentioned Raphael has that big moment, but like there isn't really much other moments of them like really getting into an argument, or even like them like, you know, them having like interesting dynamics. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, you get their vibes, you get their basic personalities, but no deeper explorations. Like I don't know, I guess like I watch a lot of Turtle media, so like I'm just like more used to like there being deeper stuff, I guess, or at least somewhat more deeper. I don't know. Yeah, I feel spoiled with other stuff essentially. But like, you know, all this is serviceable enough, I guess. But who cares about story when you got cool action scenes? Like there's like the scene where they're going down the snowy mountain. I remember that was like a big scene that they like talked about when they did that behind the scenes special, you know, back on Nickelodeon, and they showed that off. I was just like, oh my god, that's so cool. And then like, you know, there's cool action in the movie sometimes. There's like, you know, there's an explosion towards the end. It's treated as a joke, but you know, it was a cool looking explosion. And then when they fight Shredder, it's really cool until they have to like defeat him, and it's like they just do like the game that they did as a kid. Apparently it's set up earlier, and they go like, that's what we do. And it's like, that was a bit dumb. But then when the thing is crashing down, the Turtles are like falling, it's like, bro, that's cool. So who cares about story at the end of the day, you know, when you got cool stuff like that. So I mentioned this, you know, Megan Fox plays April O'Neil, and I think she does a pretty good job. Like, I definitely think she got a lot of hate during the 2010s, which I think for the most part was undeserved. Like, I do think she can be a pretty good actress. Like, I saw Jennifer's Body for the first time this year, the movie. Pretty good, I think. I liked her performance in that. And here, seeing as, like, April is supposed to be the main character for a huge amount of it, which she does fine. Definitely not my favorite April in any way, you know, but, like, the acting is decent enough. Some scenes do come off as, like, some of her acting comes off as a little bit stilted, but other times it's like, I don't know, I feel like she is trying at least, because, you know, she is, like, the center role for a lot of it. Will Arnett as Vern, I think, is fine as well. I don't know. He definitely tries to be the funny for a lot of scenes, like the scene where he talks about like how you know, April is like, you know, giving people what they want. Like, sure, she's not doing big stories, but she's at least giving people like small stories that can make them happy, you know, like candy or like froth, as he calls it, because he doesn't know what foam on the, you know, top of coffee is. But like, you know, that to me is kind of funny, but like ironically because of how awkward and stupid it is, and something that I would reference and then no one else would get, because no one talks about that scene in this movie, but I do. I talk about the froth. And you know, it's like, other than that, like, well, yeah, most of his jokes aren't that funny, and I didn't really laugh. So yeah, Will Arnett is better in other things. Eric Sachs, the character, is just your generic villain guy. You know, all he cares about is being rich, like stupid rich. Shredder, kind of also forgettable. I mean, like, his suit is cool, you know. I mean, it does look a little bit like a Transformer. I'll get to that later when I talk about visuals. But, like, you know, suit, he looks cool, but, like, yeah, not much else to him because of what I mentioned. You know, story-wise, they kind of messed both Eric and Shredder up. And the Turtles, I got the actors who play them here. Jeremy Howard as Donatello, Alan Ritchson as Raphael, Noel Fisher as Michelangelo. And the thing about those guys is they voiced the Turtles, but they also did the motion capture for them. But Leonardo actually has two actors. The motion capture was done by Pete Plasek. I hope I said that right. And the voice was done by Johnny Knoxville, which some part of me wants to go, what? Johnny Knoxville as Leonardo? That must be insane. That must be wild. But like, in reality, the performance is nothing to write home about. It's like not terrible in any sense, but it's also not great. It's just kind of whatever. And it's like, it's definitely not my favorite Leonardo, but it's like, I don't know, it's not a crappy enough performance for me to go like, man, why couldn't they have just let a different person play? Why'd they have to get Johnny Knoxville? That's such a weird casting choice. It's just like, yeah, I don't know, I didn't feel anything when I heard it. I got more out of his performance as Randy Cheeks in the recent Sandy Cheeks movie than I did as him as Leonardo in this Ninja Turtles movie, so if that says anything. And I mentioned this before, but the Turtles feel like, you know, like kind of like just not that interesting in the movie. They don't really have their own little character arcs. They try to give one to Raphael, but it's like kind of barely explored. And he has that one big moment towards the end where he talks about like how he loves his brothers as when they think they're about to die. But like, yeah, and it's done well, it's delivered well, and so part of me thought like, man, that's pretty cool. I would be more interested in this if I actually cared, but I don't. I don't really feel like I care too much about the Turtles in this. They don't really have that much, you know, depth to them. And you just kind of get their basic, like, you know, personalities and not much else. We got Splinter. That's right, I haven't talked too much about him. So Splinter, he has some moments in this movie, like, you know, he like, there's a scene where like Shredder kind of knocks him down or, you know, beats him, and then like they kind of think like, oh no, he's hurt, and that kind of drives Raphael to go save the other turtles after they're captured. You know, it's like something we've seen before, like, oh, Splinter is hurt or killed, and that drives the turtles to, you know, be heroes. But like, it's like, you know, it's done better in other stuff. Here it's just like whatever. And he has two actors as well. The motion capture is done by Danny Woodburn, and the voice is done by Tony Shalhoub, who does a questionable voice. Like I don't want to speak for anyone when it comes to the, you know, how Splinter as a character in some versions may come off as a bit of an Asian stereotype, because a lot of the times, like, I'm saying this as like someone who is not Asian, and you know, so I'm like going like, I can't always tell if this is something that is like could be considered offensive. Like in the 80s show or the 2003 show where he's like voiced by a white guy and the character is supposed to be Japanese, and you know, and like they kind of do a, you know, a voice. And it's like, I definitely don't want to be like one of those people that assumed that like Speedy Gonzalez was offensive towards Mexicans when most Mexicans either did not care or actually love Speedy Gonzalez, me included. You know, I'm Hispanic and I love Speedy, so I don't want to, you know, speak for anyone when it comes to Splinter. However, in this movie, you know, the character who for some reason still has a Asian-esque sounding voice, or you know, it's Tony Shalhoub trying to do an Asian accent that sounds, you know, a little bit something that like could be considered offensive, even though it doesn't make sense why he sounds like that, because Splinter, it doesn't look like he's from any part of Asia, because like, you know, he seems to be just like a regular rat that has lived in New York. And like before anyone says anything about like Mutant Mayhem where they did a similar thing, well that rat doesn't seem to be from Asia. He was just like, you know, in New York as well. But like Jackie Chan, who voices him, is just doing his normal voice. So that it's like that's fine. Here it's like Tony Shalhoub is clearly not doing his normal voice, and it's like, why are you doing this voice though? Who told you to do this? Like whoever told him to do that, maybe no. And like design wise, that's something I'm gonna get to later. But like yeah, it's like something that is, you know, I just like I was listening to it. I looked at Splinter in this movie and I raised an eyebrow going like, I don't remember this being questionable, because it had been a little while since I've seen the movie. And so yeah, again, I don't want to speak for anyone. Maybe this Splinter is, you know, not offensive at all. Maybe most Asian people do not care, but it's something that I think I should bring up because yeah, this Splinter is, you know, yeah, the voice is, you know, like I said, questionable. But design-wise, I'm gonna get to that later. Oh, we're talking about the visuals of the movie. I'm going to be talking about the cinematography and, yes, the way that some of the characters look, including Splinter and the Turtles, which I will talk about. But cinematography-wise, I think the movie looks, in some cases, kind of cool, you know, right? Like, this movie was not directed by Michael Bay. It was produced by him. It was instead directed by Jonathan Liebesman. I believe I mentioned that before. I don't even think I said the name right. But, like, essentially, you know, it's not a Michael Bay film. It's not directed by him. So, a lot of the times, it doesn't really look like his other films, like Michael Bay films, you know? It just kind of looks like a standard-esque film. I don't know how to perfectly describe it, but there are some shots where you can kind of tell they're trying to go for that Michael Bay aesthetic, and sometimes it can look a little cool. It could look a little bit cool because, like, Michael Bay, you know, while people can have different opinions on him, you know, he does have at least an interesting visual style. It might not be for everyone, but it is at least interesting. And here, when they try to go for it, it can look kind of cool. There's some shots that I'm like, all right, that looks neat, but other times it also just kind of looks like, not that interesting. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the cinematography. Other things is, okay, so let's talk about the Turtles. Okay, so they're motion captured, alright, so they're not, you know, big like costumes like they were in the 90s films. And the motion capture, like, I'm sure is impressive technology to get them to look the way they are. And as a kid, I saw no fault with what they look like. And a lot of people did. A lot of people tried to tell me, David, these look ugly as sin. Why do you like this? And I want to tell you I was in denial and I was just trying to pretend that I liked these. But no, I genuinely thought these monstrosities looked cool. I had toys of them and I thought they looked cool. I had a backpack of them, like the characters on the backpack. I took to school. I put my notebooks in there. I carried my lunch in that. And, you know, and people told me, hey, that looks a bit weird. I said, no, what are you talking about? They look awesome. And I dressed up as Leonardo for Halloween. It was an ugly costume. And yet I thought I was the coolest kid in my entire neighborhood because I had that costume. But no, I have to admit it now. They look pretty bad. Now, I can admit it, they look terrible, they look ugly, they are my sleep paralysis demon sometimes. But, you know, there are some things that I can say is at least visible. Like, you know, like some of the textures on them look kind of cool, you know, right? Seeing that sort of realistic textures on them, on the turtles, can be a little bit cool. But my main issue with their design is less so the face. The faces are definitely a problem, which I'll talk about a bit. It's more so just like everything else, like the things on their shell and their like front. Like it's just like they just have too much detail on them. They have too many things going on, and it's like, look, I can understand wanting to go a little bit more detailed in a live action film. That's fine, but like I don't know, they just have too many things going on, and I'm like, I don't know, it just isn't the most appealing. And yes, the faces, yeah, the faces are terrible. I don't like them. Like, first of all, like, you get up, there's too many shots in this movie where the turtles are just getting really close to the camera, and I'm sure it was because the movie was in 3D. I probably saw this movie in 3D, and like, you know, it's now I'm like I every time they just go up screen I kind of feel scared for my life and like I'm just like looking at them and I'm like I don't want to see this. And then you get up close and you see like they have sort of like human-esque teeth, and then like just like you see their noses. The noses look weird to me for some reason, and then their eyes, their eyes, I don't like it. I genuinely don't like it. It scares me. Definitely falls under a little bit of the uncanny valley area, and yeah, I don't see how they thought that was gonna be like I can totally understand why you want to use motion capture and make them look more realistic in the new age, and by the new age I mean the 2010s. But like, I don't know, I think this is just a bit of a step too far. And I'm really hoping with the last Ronin film that they're doing that if they are gonna go use motion capture and use CGI to make the turtles, please don't do this. Don't make the last Ronin look like this. However, there is a design that I kind of like, and that is Shredder. Yeah, he does look a little bit too much like a Transformer in this, but at the same time, I don't know, I think it looks kind of cool. And some of the scenes with him when he's fighting the turtles looks kind of cool. And I don't know, yeah, I'm just repeating myself again, I just think it looks cool. And yeah, it's not my favorite Shredder design, but I think it's kind of neat. And now we're talking about Splinter, who I think is the worst designed character because, well, going back to what I was saying earlier, where like, you know, there are things about him that are questionable. His voice was one of them. His design is another one of them because you look at it and it's like, look, again, I don't want to speak for any Asian people. So maybe this means absolutely nothing, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, I feel like this is something that should not have been accepted in 2014. Why was I like, why did I look at this as a kid and go like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, because yes, it's ugly, but also it comes off as a little bit stereotypical. Again, if it's not at all, let me know in the comments and I will kindly shut up. But like, again, I just like feel like it's like eyebrow raising. I'm like, you know, yeah, Splinter, he's the worst designed character, and yeah, questionable decisions were made with this film. The big reason why I enjoyed this movie a lot as a kid was that it was coming around the same time as my birthday was. So when this movie came out, I was just like, oh man, I gotta get the toys for it. And my mom, you know, because she's amazing, she got me the toys for my birthday. Not everything, not like the vehicles or the playset or anything. No, we never had that type of money. But I did get the basic figures. I got the Turtles, I got Shredder, I got April, I got a Foot Soldier, and I got Splinter, yes. And I just want to look over these, you know, because I think, while they're not the best looking toys, I do have fond memories of them, and there's stuff about them that is legitimately pretty cool. So yeah, let's take a look at them. Alright, here are the toys. These are the toys I played with as a kid. That's right, these are the very ones. And they don't have their weapons because I lost them, because I was, you know, not very protective of my things back then. I regret that. But yeah, this is what the Turtles look like, and, you know, pretty movie accurate. With that being said, they look kind of ugly. And looking at these toys, again, made me, like, really question, like, what's that gonna be like when you're a toy company and you make toys based on a movie or show and the source material looks kind of not good? Do you, like, go ahead and try to make the toys look better so that way, like, you know, they look appealing? Or, like, do you, like, go ahead and try to be movie or show accurate so that it's, like, you know, accurate to the thing that this is based on, that it's based on? I don't know. Like, what would you do in that situation? But as you can see, they went for the, you know, trying to be somewhat movie accurate, and they look pretty good, I think, or at least when you consider, like, the fact that it's supposed to look like the movie. On their own, yeah, they look ugly. Especially the Splinter. Look at that. Man, again, questionable design. Here's Megan Fox, April O'Neil. It doesn't look the most like her, but you know, it's alright. The left leg is getting a bit loose though. This is the left leg, right? I think so. Or is the right? I'm not good. Someone correct me. And the articulation on the Turtles is actually really good. Like, you can get a lot of like they're just like fun to just kind of mess around with. Like, sometimes I'll just like grab these figures and then like lay down on my bed and just kind of like mess with them, just to for my hand, just to have something for my hands to do. And you know, I think is that a thing that other people do with their figures? Just kind of just mess with them so they have their hands can do something. I don't know, but yeah, I think they have good articulation. They're fun to move around. I think Michelangelo's is my favorite to just kind of like hold, if that means anything. Second would be Raphael. Then I think Leonardo. Then Donatello. I think these four definitely have the best articulation out of these figures. And Splinter, yeah, all you can really do is move the arms. You can't really do much with the legs. And hers is like just kind of not that great. His is definitely like Shredder's is definitely like, you know, better. And here, this is what he looks like. You know, he doesn't look as cool as he does in the movie, but you know, I have him. So yeah, These figures, I have so many fond memories with them, just playing with them so much. So often like playing with them with my sisters because they, I needed someone to be the other character sometimes. So yeah, these figures, they don't look the prettiest, but man, they sure made me happy as a kid. Okay, so some of the best Ninja Turtles movies out there, or some of the most memorable ones, I guess we'll say, have an original song written for them. The 90s movie did with Turtle Power. The second film, Secret of the Ooze, had it with Ninja Rap. 2007 film had one that was I think called also called Shellshocked or something like that. I don't remember the exact name. I'm a fake fan, I know. But it ended with a bunch of Yo Mama jokes at the end, and I think that's funny. And this movie has Shell-Shocked, which is, hold on, I have it in my notes here, which has it's performed by Juicy J, Kill the Noise, Mad Sonic, Ty Dolla Sign, with a spelled T-Y, and Dolla spelled D-O-L-L-A, and a dollar sign is substitute for the S in the word sign, and also Wiz Khalifa. And I was obsessed with the song. When I got the Blu-ray for this movie, I watched the music video for this song so many times. I practically had the whole song memorized. I still kind of do. And I think it's funny because like, I still kind of enjoy it now. Like, I'll listen to it every now and then and I'll just get into the beat. Like, yeah, just go, knock, knock, you about to get shell-shocked. That's my friends, all that stuff. And I still memorize, like, most of the lyrics now. I like, don't ask me to say them, like, just memorize them because, like, then I'll get, like, shy and I'm like, oh, no, then I'll just forget them. But, like, if I'm on my own, I'll probably sing the whole song. But I want to talk about this song a bit because I don't know if I can say this is a good song or not because I don't know anything about what makes a good song, but I can say that I enjoy it. And what I find funny about this song is that in the beginning, it starts out very like Ninja Turtle-esque, where you hear it and be like, oh, okay, they're talking about the turtles. Like the lines right here, I have it on my laptop right here, that, okay, yes, me and my bros come together for the dough. Brought the orange Lamborghini, call it Michelangelo. With the nunchucks doors, and I'm pulling up slow. When we fall up in the party, they know anything goes. Check my Rolex, they say I'm the man of the hour. All this green in my pockets, you would call it turtle power. Okay, most of that is Ninja Turtles related. Some of it is also just other stuff, but most of it is Ninja Turtles related. That's how the first half of the song is. But the second half, after the chorus, I think, yeah, it just kind of becomes like about other things that are like sort of Ninja Turtles related, but could also just be about other things. Like here, this is what I mean. I'll say that. Trying to tell them you don't want to go to the war with us. We'll be them. We be them. Young riders raised in the gutters. Really started from the bottom. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm bad at speaking. We all we are ever had. We all we ever needed, and we undefeated. We be going hard. Make it look easy. Give me the whole pie, real cheesy. I told you, girl, no, but you might not believe me. Taking pics for me, told her smile for me. Pass her off, I'm a real team player. Bandana on my face, like a gangster. Like, yeah, some of that is Ninja Turtles related, but like if someone just heard that on its own, they'd probably think it was just like a normal like a hip hop rap song. And I just think that's funny, that like yeah. And also, as you can see, I am not cut out for the rapping industry because, I'm bad at spitting rhymes. We've reached the end, and I've talked about, okay. Now we've reached the end. I have said almost everything I really wanted to say about this movie, and I can confidently say, yeah, this movie is not really good. And rewatching it, I had a good time. I enjoyed myself. But like, I've also seen a lot more of Ninja Turtles than I did back when I first watched the movie, where back then my real exposure to it was, the 2012 show, one season of the 2003 show, the 2007 movie, and the live action films. And as time went on, I would discover other things I enjoyed more. Like I watched more of the 2003 show, I rewatched the 90s films and really enjoyed them. Again, they've grown to be some of my favorite films. And of course, Mutant Mayhem has come out, and I absolutely adore that movie. It revitalized my love for the Ninja Turtles. And now I'm looking back on this movie, and I still enjoy it. I definitely do not think it's good. It has a ton of flaws, and it doesn't really have like the substance that I really like from a good Ninja Turtle story, but it's kind of dumb fun. You know, it has silly things in it. It's got, you know, it's got some good action. It's got questionable decisions that make it kind of a train wreck, but make it an interesting watch. And while I don't think I'll rewatch it as much as I did before, maybe every now and then I'll put it on just for a background noise or just to relive the memories of the young me, you know, right? Enjoying playing with the toys and getting excited for this film. But there is better Ninja Turtle stuff out there that I would rather watch. And seeing it's the franchise's 40th anniversary this year, there's, you know, definitely some stuff that I want to rewatch and like check out soon, like the upcoming Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle show. And yeah, this movie, it's not good, but it will always hold a special place in my heart. And if you enjoyed the movie, go ahead and let me know what you liked about it. Maybe you're like me and, you know, you also, you know, watched it as a young kid and you have those fond memories. But anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah. Knock, knock, you about to get shell shocked.